Hi, everyone. Just wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about the discriminant, which comes from the quadratic formula. So, last time we were talking a little bit about the quadratic formula, which, as you can see right here, is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right. And don't forget, it needs to be in standard form. And you need to explore, kind of choose your other options first so you don't have to go through this process. It will always work, but it is a bit of a, time kill. So another kind of way that you could get some info really quickly is using just part of that quadratic formula. So first of all, do you want to really go through the process of simplifying all this out before you even, and then only come to realize that you had no solutions to begin with? So there is a quick way we can do that. All right. So last time we said if you get a negative under the square root, you're not going to get a solution, or there's going to be no real solution. So that's really what we're going to be looking at. And this kind of gives you a little bit of information, right? It tells you if it's way above the x-axis. It tells you if it's way below the x-axis. It kind of gives you, some general information about the parabola if you were to graph it in the function. So just taking a quick look here, the part that we really care about is the part under the square root, right? Because we know this part, this is your vertex, right? We talked about that last time. That's going to kind of be your vertex. So we really care about the part under the square root. And this is going to kind of illustrate how many solutions we're going to have. So this part right here, the b squared minus 4ac, is something known as the discriminant. So the discriminant is going to indicate how many real solutions you're going to have. There's three options, right? If the discriminant ends up being, a number bigger than 0, like you get, let's say 20, right? That means, you would end up with the square root of 20, which, as we saw last time, you can simplify it. But anyway, it means we're going to end up with 2 solutions. You could get it equal to 0, right? Everything could cancel out. That's going to indicate you're only going to get 1 solution, okay? Because you take the square root of 0, it's just 0. And negative b plus or minus 0 is just 0. So this solution right here, this option, when there's 1 real solution, right? We already know a little bit about that. We know that's just when the vertex is on the x-axis, right? The vertex is the root. And then the other situation comes in if you get a negative number where b squared minus 4ac is negative, you're going to have no solutions, right? Because I would need to take the square root of a negative number, which we talked about means, there's no real solution. Because no number times itself is going to give you a negative. We'd have to get into the imaginary numbers. All right. So for example, if we take a look here, here's 2 solutions. If we take a look here, the discriminant is 4. All right. In fact, by the way, if the discriminant is going to be like 4 or a perfect square, you probably could have just factored. Don't forget that. Here's a situation where, right, we end up with the discriminant canceling out to be 0. It is right on the x-axis. And then finally, again, when we have no solution, it's going to be either above or below the x-axis, depending on if it's opening up or down. If it's opening up, it'll be above the x-axis. All right, so let's do some practice with this just to identify some pieces of information. So again, the discriminant is just the negative b minus 4, it is b squared minus 4ac. I almost want to go write the whole thing. So the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So again, we need it in standard form first. So I'm going to add the 8x to both sides. I'm going to add the 4 to both sides. Add the 4. So I get negative 3x squared plus 12x plus 63. Now, I want to give you a heads up. When you're looking at this, and if you only care about how many solutions you have, I right now, without doing any calculations, can tell you that I'm going to have 2 solutions. And I'm not just saying that because, I've done a lot of math in my time. I'm saying that because there's one thing that we really care about, right? We will have a negative solution to the discriminant, which means we'll have no real solutions, if this part right here is going to be bigger than b squared, negative 4ac. However, I have negative 4ac, and then I have only one negative in the a or the c, right? That means it'll end up positive. So I already know I'm going to end up with a positive number. Let's figure out what it is, but I already know I'm going to end up with one. So I have 12 squared minus 4 times negative 3 times 63. So as I was saying, right, this negative and this negative are going to cancel out. So whenever you have, only two negatives, you automatically know you're going to have two real solutions. All right. If you end up with, if both A and C are negative, that's where you really, let me present. If both A and C are positive, or if they are both negative, you do have to really kind of pay attention with your calculations, right? Because that means all the negatives won't cancel because there would essentially be three negatives. So this would be 144 plus, right, 12 times 63. I don't know what 12 times 63 is. Off the top of my head, I don't know at least. 12 times 63, 756. Oh, how nice, actually. I don't know why I just flipped those. Whatever. What does that mean? It means it's equal to 900. So it's equal to 900, which actually means this will be factorable. Oops. And there you have it, right? So this actually would have been, you actually could have divided a 3 out. Would have made everything a little bit easier. But anyway, because that is a positive number, bigger than 0 here, we know that we would have had two solutions. All right, so let's do this one. All right. So again, let's subtract. 8x squared plus 5x plus 5x plus 4 plus 4. So that would give me 4x squared plus 80x plus 400. This is giving me some pretty suspect situations about whether or not we'll have two solutions or not. But anyway, so we have b squared, which is 80 squared, minus 4 times 4 times 400. All right. For the discriminant. So what is 80 squared? Well, that is going to be 6400, right? That is 16 times 400, which I believe is actually 6400 minus 6400, which is equal to 0, right? So this is actually going to be a situation where you only have one real solution, right? Because it equals 0. All right. And so anyway, you're going to go through that process when you're trying to find the discriminant. So it'll help you out with kind of giving a gauge on how things are going to look. All right, let me know if you have any questions and have a great day.